Me ducks, it's Simon here. Welcome back to the Hermit's Cave. So tonight I thought we could have a look at the Tarot of Light and Shadow by John Matthews and Andrea Asti. Now, this deck has been eluding me. I was aware of it at the beginning of this year that it was going to be released. I was very excited about it because it's John Matthews. And I'm a huge John Matthews fan, as a lot of you will know. There's lots of shadows at the moment. Let me pull the light down, see if that helps. Because, you know, if you've watched my channel for any amount of time, you'll know how much I admire John Matthews. So I added it to my wish list and then forgot all about it until I heard it had been released. And then sure enough, right at the bottom of my wish list, here it was from earlier in the year. Then it arrived about a week ago with some other decks that arrived around the same time. And I put this on my spare sofa. You don't really need to know all this information. And it got covered with a cushion. And I just tied it around earlier. I thought, oh yes, this deck arrived. So I've had it for about a week and forgotten. So it's the deck that I keep forgetting for some reason. But I'm really excited to have a look at it. So it has two decks in here, one light, one shadow. Similar artwork, but not the same artwork. It's by Watkins. It retails for $29.99 in the UK. US is $44.95. That's a big difference. That's a big difference. But anyway, I didn't pay that amount. I got this from Amazon. And I think I paid just over £20 for it. So on the back, it says the most subtle and insightful tarot ever created. Now there's a bold statement. For the first time ever, two decks have been designed to work together in a new multi-layered approach to the tarot. The shadow deck, your inner world, your instinct and what is unknown. The light deck is the outer world, the rational and what is known. This groundbreaking double deck from best-selling tarot creator John Matthews and renowned Italian artist Andrea Asti allows you to look both within and without, explore both sides of every question and answer, and find the best way forward in the blending of both answers. Which sounds amazing, but I'm yet to see how you work with two decks at once. Oh, I don't need my scissors. There's a little way in here. And I'm sure that's what the book explains. Because before reading that, I probably would have gone to the shadow deck to do some, you know, shadow work, or what it refers to here, which is the unknown. What's your inner world, the instinct. And I would have gone for the light deck for the outer world, but combining the two will be interesting. So it's a nice, sturdy, it almost has like a wood effect, matte finish. There's a bit of a smudge there. I don't know if you can see it, whether that will come off. I think it does. Yes, it's coming off, but it was under the plastic. So then we have the book. It's not an awfully thick book, but I like the fact that you get, okay, so you get, they've changed the suit, so we've got serpents here, but you get a write-up for the meaning of the card, and then you get your light reading and your shadow reading, and both cards are, that's interesting. So, serpents replace the pentacles, the earth suit. So we have swords, air, cups, water, serpents, earth, wands, fire. It's interesting why they've gone with serpents instead of pentacles, because they kept the other three quite traditional. That's the only thing that's not putting me off, but I love the pentacle suit, and I don't quite understand why they may. I'm just quickly skimming here to see if it says anything about this. It looks like the major arcana has been left intact. I don't think there's been any changes to Justice is in at 8 though rather than 11. But this is a pip deck, so maybe it's based on a Marseille system. So let's have a look at the book. So the Tarot of Light and Shadow, John Matthews and Andrea Aste. It's 2020 publication. Elsewhere is a negative mirror. The traveller recognises the little that is his, discovering the much he has not had and will never have. Wow. Our lives are divided into day and night, light and dark, left and right, up and down, the periods of time by which we divide every day, and the calendar of the year has always influenced us profoundly from our first moments as conscious beings, from the long-forgotten past to the present time. Depending on where you are, the world looks different in daylight or at night time, but there's also twilight and the dawn light, those moments when the sun has vanished below the horizon, but darkness has still not fallen, or when the sun is almost risen and darkness begins to melt away, perhaps attended by trails of mist. These are magical times, that of the between lights. They show all the realities. It is to those realities that this double tarot is dedicated, and from their magical time that draws its power. It is both two decks, which may be used independently, or a pair of single decks that can be shuffled together to form a landscape that transcends the everyday, but is still rooted in reality. We understand things differently as darkness begins to fall, and the same when the sun begins to show above the rim of the world. Wow. And then it talks here about it's important to understand that when you choose to work with the double deck, that it shows us truth from two angles, mirroring each other in a strange and wonderful way. So that's really cool. So you can work with them on their own or mix them together. I'm not quite sure yet how I'm going to work with this. I'm intrigued to mix them. So it tells you here about working with the double tarot. Mirrors should think longer before they reflect. Oh, if only that was true. Ways of working with the double deck, pips and courtiers. So it is a pip deck. Shuffling the mirror spread. So here we have a mirror spread. We have light and shadow. So that's cool. I think that would be a cool thing to do, you know, shuffle. Instead of mixing the decks together, shuffling each deck and then having a mirror. So if you do a 3-card spread, you would lay your 6 cards down like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That would be a cool way of doing it. And then it goes into the cards. The only change, really, I suppose, because it's following like a Marseille pip system, is Justice being at 8 and Strength at 11. No retitling. And then we get quite a bit of information from the majors. We get all of this. The write-up, the light reading, and the shadow reading of the Fool. And as you can see, they are like mirrored. And that's the style it kind of follows. However, it is not the same image, you know, with 2 filters, a light filter and a dark filter. They are redrawn, and some of them are quite different, as you can see here with the Empress. Completely different head dress. So yeah, so that's really cool. I'm still not quite sure why the suit of serpents. Let's just have a quick look here, see if it says why they've changed pentacles to serpents. Yeah, so it mentions it here. It talks about the term pentacle imported from 19th century from older forms of coins. Coins is believed to go back to the beginnings of cartomancy in the 15th century, etc. And then it says here, in this deck, we have the serpent with its tail in its mouth, the Ouroboros, a symbol of eternity and unending renewal. These images represent the keys to wholeness and success, the wisdom of life and the blessings of house and home. Because the element associated with the suit is earth, there is an underlying stability present in it, a foundational quality that forms the base for all we wish to build. Serpents reflect time and space, life and death, the eternal revolution that we see in nature as it sheds its garments in winter and sees them regrow into spring. Wow, okay, so it does go into, and I think each suit actually at the beginning has a little write-up about the suit. So it's a really nice book. It's 159 pages, that's the little advert at the back. I just notice crediting some of John Matthews' work, New York Times best-selling author, several successful divinatory systems based on earthly spiritual beliefs, including the Arthurian Tarot with Caitlin Matthews, the Wildwood Tarot with Mark Ryan, and the Byzantine Tarot with Scylla Conway. And then Andrea Asti is a multimedia artist, a writer, an animator, and a filmmaker. Asti's works have been shown in museums and in prestigious art exhibitions worldwide, including the 54th edition of the Venice Biennale. His most recent deck, The Book of Shadows, The Last Code of Tarot, was part of a larger immersive art project. And I have that deck. I didn't realise that was the same artist. Okay, so the cards come in these little wow, it's a thick deck. They feel a little bit smaller than the standard tarot, not a whole lot smaller. So this is just one of those pull out inserts, and don't mind them, you know, nothing can slip behind. Let's have a look at let's remove one of the bands first. Take the bands off. Cardstock is really good, that's why it's a thick deck. So it's only a little bit, let's do it that way so you can see a little bit better. It's a little bit shorter and narrower than a US Games, but as you can see, it's a chunky deck and the cardstock is really nice. They are a little bit, I wouldn't say glossy, but, well, I would, yeah, they are glossy, but they're not heavy lamination. There's some durability there. I believe the backs are the same, exactly the same, which is great. So if you are mixing the decks, you know, you're not going to have that sort of jarring of having two different backs. So let's have our light and our dark, or our shadow, I should say. I don't want to get the light on these, and it's going to happen, isn't it? Bear with. Let's see the best way to do this. That's it. That would work. Okay, so let's take a look at these cards. I mean, they're wonderful, aren't they? So you can see they are like a mirror image. Let me just part them. You know, you could imagine doing this with it, but they are redrawn. So here we have the sun because it's light, and on here we have the moon because it's the shadow. It's those in between times, remember, the twilight or the dawn. We have bats on this one, where we have birds on this one. And there's the little dog, the fool's dog. So this does remind me of the artwork that's in the Lost Code. And I love that deck. I bought it really cheaply from Glastonbury for about £7, I think, for the kit. But this artwork is so reminiscent with that. Here we have our magician. Now that looks almost identical, but there's just a few little differences that you will spot. You know, this is like smoke or vapor that's leaving, where it's more of a cloud here. And then again here, look, you've got this little overspill, and the vases are different. So it's not the same image, but I can understand why people at first glance may think that it is. I love that we get the sun and the moon. So the Empress is quite different in both images. The Emperor. Here's our Hierophant. I'm loving this. Wow. Our Lovers. Interesting that in the light we've got this kind of sombrero with the weather, what do they call them? Weather vanes? Whereas this one is like almost like what you joust with, but it has a blade at the end, like a spear. Maybe spear is the word I'm looking for. Something simple like that. The Chariot. Love that. Elephants, I think, that's pulling the chariot. Andrea Asti's art is very distinctive. The Hermit. Wow. We've got cactus in this one, or cacti. Our Wheel. Strength, and she's kind of dancing with the serpent here. She's got a bow and arrow on the floor. This one, oh, got two together there. And this one, she's charming the snake. Look, she's playing this flute and charming the snake. Whereas this one, for strength, she's actually holding it, you know, under its jaws. The Hanged Man. Oh, look at the Death card. I love the red horse in the light version. I mean, both are striking. Temperance. Devil. Interesting, in the shadow one, they've both got these kind of spears. Here we have our Tower. The stars rather than the star. I've seen that a few times. Oh, look at that. That's interesting. For the moon card, we've got a full moon and a crescent moon. Different kind of sea creatures here. And the towers are different. Are they? No, actually they're not. It's because it's in reverse mirror image. Sun. We have Judgment. Wow, look at these. One with the beak closed, the other open. Reminds me of the, in front of my Buddhist shrine, in front of the Gohonzon, we have two cranes. One has the mouth open and one has the mouth closed, which symbolises the relationship between mentor and disciple. One talks, the other listens. And then we have our world cards. Okay, so raised up here and the cards keep falling down. So we have our swords and we see two completely different swords here and the position. So in the light we've got the both in water, and you've got this hand reaching up out of the water, holding it with the pointing upwards, and here swords going down into the water. The Two of Swords we have, you know, facing in opposite direction, and this one is crossed. So these really aren't mirror images now when it comes to the pips. They're redrawn, each one with different styles of swords in different kind of configurations. That's a strange sword. Same here in that direction. Very similar. With the 10. And then we have our, as it was called in the book, our courtiers. The Page of Swords. The Knight. I think that is actually a, I don't know, it's different at the top here, look. It's spotting these little subtle changes. The Queen. And we have our King. Obviously the shadow self needs two swords. And then we have our cups. Look how beautiful those cups are. They're very kind of Marseille style. So this isn't a Marseille because Marseille is very distinctive in terms of the arrangement, the patterns of the swords and wands. Whereas this is just, I think this is a pip deck, but equally as wonderful. I'll go a little bit quicker through the minors, but I'm really drinking these in. I'm really enjoying looking at these depictions. And I think it's quite a cool concept to work with these together. I think the way I'm going to work with them is to shuffle them independently, but pull 3 from each and line them up. 1, 2, 3 light, 1, 2, 3 shadow. Love that. So this is the serpent suit, which would have been the pentacles or coins. And here we have the Ouroboros, making that infinity symbol. But look at this. This is beautiful as well. It's two intertwined. Gorgeous. I wasn't sure how I felt at first about the renaming just this suit, but I think I'm on board with it. Yeah, I'm loving this. That would actually make a really cool tattoo. That ace. Page. And our king. And then we have our wands. Now they're very Marseille looking, aren't they? Very different. We've got the kind of Marseille club type of wands, where we've got a more ornate wand here. Both gorgeous. I'm really looking forward to reading the book as well. See what John has to say. Look how beautiful that is. And our Ten of Wands. Gorgeous. Queen, King, and there's an additional card which is the Cosmic Mirror. How cool is that? Let's have a look. What does the book say? I want to see what the book has to say about the Cosmic Mirror. The Cosmic Mirror cards. Let's have a look. Let's put them there. I love the way it's got like this worn, aged, antique effect. You will find two of these cards, one in each deck. They are sometimes known as wild cards. Their purpose is generally to act as markers, guides which can help you choose a specific card from either deck. Each one depicts a mirror, a blank speculum in which everything may be reflected. They can act as mirrors within the pack, suggesting a movement from light to shadow, morning to evening, dawnlight to twilight. Therefore, if you're going to use the decks independently of each other rather than shuffle together, they can prompt you to switch from one deck to another during a reading. How cool. If you shuffle them into the pack, you can look at them again and decide if the card either side, coming before or after the Cosmic Mirror card, is significant, perhaps serving as a significator for yourself or an issue you are focusing upon, allowing the twin decks to reflect answers into the empty frame. Wow, cool. And also, which you don't get very often, there's a write-up about the card back as well. So it says, the Mistress of Tarot presides over the mysterious city of Sepinatia. I'm probably saying that completely wrong. Sapientia, where all knowledge is kept, and which lies between the realms of light and shadow. Here tarot cards come alive and archetype dance in the streets. She holds in her hands the symbols of the 4 suits, and the mingled shades of both realms are reflected in the grey-toned palette. From the twin domes of the mirrored city, a great eye looks out. It sees all, for this is the place of ultimate mystery, where help, advice and guidance are forever present. Wow. So there she is, look, holding the 4 symbols of the suits. This is the domed palace with the all-seeing eye. That is really cool. And of course, it's reversible. So yeah, there we have it. This is the Tarot of Light and Shadow by John Matthews and Andrea Asti. Let me know your thoughts on the deck. I do think the artwork is great, but I think it's going to be an acquired taste. I do remember from the Key to the Tarot that not everybody gelled with this particular art, but I do. It's of its own, but it kind of reminds me of a time long gone by as well. So lovely set. Thank you for watching, guys. Always interested to hear your thoughts about decks, especially new decks. And yeah, thank you for watching. Until next time, go in peace. Namaste and blessed be.